Welcome to The Lock Shop with Nielsen and Hustler.
What is happening? Lock shoppers, nasties. Happy Friday, February 27th. It's a beautiful day here in Edmonton. Oilers coming off a dominating win down in LA. The Brier starts. I mean, what's there not to be happy about? Now, I do need to clear the air on something here right away. By the way, this is the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta. Why limit your choices when you can have it all? Play Alberta is your go-to app for casino games, sports betting, and lottery, all in one place. With easy access to real money games, you can enjoy everything Alberta has to offer right at your fingertips. Download Play Alberta now and start playing today. Thank you for tuning in right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. If you're over on YouTube, hammer that thumbs up. You can also chime in via the nasty chat. If you are listening on iHeartRadio, TuneIn app, you can hit us up on the inbox at 780-218-9999. And of course, you can always listen to us streaming right off our website at edmontonsportstalk.com. Got a little bit of a confession. Trev? Now, is this a confession on me? Or I don't want you to shoulder any of this. Because Trev always asks me, if I'm hosting the Lock Shop, Trev will say, hey, Glue Guy, how you doing?
Love you.
Love you. What do you want on the thumbie?
Yeah.
A little behind the curtain here. The thumbie is what you see when the image appears on YouTube that you would click on to go to the Lock Shop.
Yeah.
And I said, well, put Connor Ingram up. And then I followed it up with a text that said, unless PA has curling odds, put up. Trev, and I'll get into it with Huss, but I had a wee bit of a morning.
Busy boy.
So Trev, doing his job, he said, okay, curling. Let's go with curling.
I liked it.
Unfortunately, Play Alberta has not. I'm talking with them. I'm begging them. Can we try? Now, it may not happen. And I don't really have control of that north side sandwich. I appreciate you thinking that I have the ability to move the lines. Well, I do have the ability to move the lines, but the ability to put a sport up that they may not have access to. I am trying, though, folks. So we'll see what happens, because I'd love to get into the futures, to talk curling, to see if Brad Gushu, in his final Brier ever, can raise the tankard on his home turf in St. John's, Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
You ever say it like that?
My sports updates I did this morning a few times accidentally. I don't know. Is there a correct pronunciation? I say Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Yeah, that's what I say. But
yeah, you can always tell somebody that's not from Canada because they'll call it. It's funniest with Saskatchewan, because we say Saskatchewan. What is it?
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
or they say Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Saskatchewan.
When we say Saskatchewan.
Yeah, we say it better.
Right? We say it the right way.
We do.
We're going to bring in Huss. I have to tell him about my morning. But Trev, I wanted to get your opinion while you're still here, while you're in the big chair. What was, what stood out the most for you last night in a dominating game by the Edmonton Oilers over the LA Kings?
Well, what stood out is the Oilers are back for a game, and they're going to be fat and sassy, feeling fat and happy, whatever the saying is, and they play the Sharks tomorrow, and they're probably going to blow that one. That's what I'm getting from the Oilers.
Whoa. What's up with you? You're Mr. Optimism. You're Mr.
No. I don't have a read on this team, man. No one does.
Oh, no.
No one does. So, yeah, I mean, I'm being a little silly, but it was one of many games this year for the Oilers that I've been able to sit back and relax and not be like punching the TV, not be swearing, not be cussing.
Yeah.
It was a good game. Credit to the Oilers. How much do you put into the LA Kings just being just not the LA Kings of old, or I guess what you would expect, especially of last year. Like, I'm holding on because I haven't had too much roster change, but yeah, quite a different team they got over there. They're definitely feeling it. They're definitely going through it. But if you're an Oilers fan, you gotta love what they were able to do. Leon, 4 points. McDavid, 100 points. First to it. The top six I liked. Ingram was he's been solid, super solid. So definitely the pros outweighed the cons, and that is something that I would love to see more of going forward.
Very well said. I share the same sentiment. I felt that this was a game that, Warren Fogle, on probably the craziest tip I've ever seen,
nice,
makes the game 2-1, and then you're thinking, uh-oh. And not only that, but they got a 4-minute double minor assessed to Darnell Nurse for the high stick on Brian Dumoulin. At that point, as an Oilers fan, you're thinking, well, here we go again. 2-0, 2-2, 4-2, 4-4. It had the same makeup of a game that Oilers fans have seen all too many times.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
A script that has played itself out much too often, far too often in this market. But credit to Connor Ingram. Yep. Connor Ingram came up with some big saves at big times. And he steadied that ship. He slowed things down. And I've said this before, but I'll say it again, but he just looks like a giant pillow.
Yeah, man.
Like everything that he touches usually stays within him, or he covers it up. He absorbs a lot of shots, and I think Trev, I'm just going to say it. This Connor Ingram is Edmonton's number one goalie
for sure.
If for some crazy reason, and we've talked about it in terms of contracts, etc., that Knobloch rolls out Jari tomorrow, something's wrong.
Yeah.
And something other than Chris Knobloch is making this happen.
Yeah, dying on that hill, maybe. He's something. Yeah, I don't know. I think Ingram, it's not even, maybe it's a hot take, but from what I've seen, just limited time, but I'm comfortable in saying he is the Oilers' best goalie in the last 5 years that I've seen.
Yeah, he is. I don't think you could deny that. In
10 years.
Maybe ever, Trev.
Yeah, in my lifetime.
Let's dream big, okay? Yeah. Now, we got to bring in Huss, because I got to tell him about... I had a morning, and, sometimes it's just best to talk things through with good friends and just, somebody to listen, somebody to talk to, somebody to lean my head on and just put my head on their shoulder, and that's you, Hustler. How you doing today, big fella?
I'm doing great. Well, how are you? I thought you'd be... I thought the vibes would be sky high after putting up a snowman last night on LA.
Vibes are high. You look at this, that was the 12th time, Huss, in Oilers history that they have won by 7 or more goals. That's only the 12th time. And you know what? 5 of those 12 games have come against LA. So looks like the Kings were just what the doctor ordered. The Oilers took advantage of it. We're going to get into that. I want to get your thoughts on Connor Ingram's play. I want to get your thoughts on McDavid getting his 100th point. And again, Huss, the dominoes fell just the way a Winnipeg Jets fan would like them to fall last night. So we'll get into all that. But Huss, what was your day when you were just a wee little Huss? Not the man you've become today, but just a little schoolboy, Huss. What was the day that you just, looked forward to at school?
Well, the last day of school.
That's a fair answer. I understand that answer. The reason I asked is because today is ski trip day at the old glue guy house. So my youngest two, who are they're in elementary, they're grades 4 and 6, just been they've had this date on the calendar circled, right?
Okay.
I mean,
Big time field trip.
big time field trip. The teachers aren't really out on the hill with you. They go to a little hill here in Edmonton. It's not like they go to the mountains. They just go to essentially the river valley. But it is what it is. It's a day where, mom and dad give them some cash, say, hey, world's your oyster, baby. You eat lunch when you want to. You come in for a break when you want to. You go ski whatever run you want. I mean, it's essentially a day of freedom because the teachers aren't really out on the hill. It's a big day in our house anyhow. Anyway.
I get for that. And for a lot of kids, I would imagine, I don't know what the school's like, but I'd imagine way more than half of them are doing it for the first time too.
Yes. And they do separate kids into levels of ability. So thankfully our girls have their own stuff. We ski every year. We always go off for a week to Golden to hit up Kicking Horse. So they're very competent skiers.
Yes.
So this morning comes and okay, it's go. Now we organized everything last night. I had the skis in the car. I had the boots, the poles. I had the foot warmers, the toe warmers, the snack bag. Everything's here. We're set. All we got to do is I even pre-made I even made last night after the Oilers game. I made pancakes. I made the pancake batter. Okay,
You're locked in, Jay.
I'm locked in.
Dad game strong.
Yeah. Yes. I was locked in. I was dialed. Had the pancakes going. We're good. Now the girls had to be at school a little earlier so they could all get on the bus and go. We're on our way there. My oldest daughter, or my middle daughter, the grade 6, she sometimes can have miniature asthma issues. So I say, hey, she switched bags. So I say, hey, do you have your inhaler with you? No. I'm like, okay. All right. Now the school's 10 minutes from our house. So I said, okay, no problem. I'll drop you guys off. We'll get your skis loaded. I'll whip home, grab the inhaler and bring it back. Okay. Awesome. Grab the inhaler, go back, hand it off seamless. Hey, life's good. Hey, girls, where's your snack bag? Where's your treats? Because, you got to have some gummy candies, some granola bars. It was a fancy little treat bag. Oh, Dad, we left it in the fridge. And I'm thinking, oh, my God. Okay. So whip home again. And I said, I can't bring it back here. The buses are leaving. So then I had to go meet them at the hill. And I get to the hill. Thank God all this happened. Because can you imagine 150 elementary students bombarding a ski hill with all this gear and equipment and snot and just all of it was screaming loud when I got there. Thank goodness I did, because it was honestly, Huss, it was a giant shit show. Chaos ensued. So in the end, Huss, it worked out the way it probably should have. It just, you know what? I like to be here for this show. I like to sit in. I like to get into a coffee, and I like to prep a bit. And I didn't have that much of a time to do it. But you know what, Huss, I guess at the end of the day, after an 8-1 victory, and Connor Ingram, and McDavid standing on their heads, there isn't really all that much prep. But what did you think of last night's Oilers performance?
Well, first off, I want to give myself a bit of the Barry Horowitz for not being sucked into all the doom and gloom from the nasties, from yourself. The Oilers just don't have it.
Yep.
Because I didn't have it yesterday. Obviously, I mean, I did watch that Columbus-Boston game. I was sort of locked in on that one. It was the first one out of the gate. Seabass was all over them late to tie the game up. They didn't get it done. Whatever. They lose the game. That blew the one parlay. Then I was 2 for 2 on the other one. And then the Kraken were down early, and it didn't look like that was going to come around. So I'm like, okay, well, it hasn't been a good night. We've had a couple good ones in a row. But I was in a pretty good position coming off the Celebrini bet. I'm like, okay, we got this late game. There's no way the Oilers lose again tonight. I just think they're coming back tonight. Like, it's going to be a big game from the big guys. I will be shocked if they do it. So I maybe up the unit size a little bit on the Oilers last night. And I mean, it was one of those beautiful no sweat cashes where you can, if you're in the central time zone and you're chasing on a 9:30 game, to be able to get in there in the second intermission, early in the third period, know that you're good. You're good. And listen, this team is a little Jekyll and Hyde, right? And I think they're a bit of a fragile team at times. Like, and listen, maybe it's PTSD from some of the goaltending and some of the mistakes that we've talked about before that they've made. But things can go from bad to worse really fast for this team. But on the other side of the ledger, they have a trump card, a couple of them on most of their opponents. And I just really thought that they would come in and handle business. They did. But I mean, to be honest, the takeaways is less about the Oilers and more about the Los Angeles Kings.
It's a fair point.
And we knew there was going to be a few teams that would come back and there'd be GMs that are pissed, that are saying, we're never going to the Olympics again because of how their teams reacted, and most importantly to injuries. And obviously the Kevin Fiala injury for LA is massive. I mean, they had just felt like they'd taken that next step forward by getting Panarin, and you take out, one of their top players, outside of Kempe. I mean, Fiala's right up there. And this is a team that there's a lot going into this season, as I mentioned last night. I mean, they've been close. They're getting a little older. Andrei Kopitar is going straight to the Hall of Fame at the end of this season when he hangs it up. And I'll be honest, I'm a Kopitar fan. I think he's been one of the great, kind of underappreciated players of the last 2 decades in the NHL. Being on the West Coast, and a lot of people don't see those games very often. It'd be a real shame if his incredible Hall of Fame career ends in game 82. And I don't know. I'm sort of afraid that could be the case. And I mean, their management team, your old buddy Ken, has a lot on his plate this week. And I mean, you go into the offseason, they're already going to be a team that needs to fill the hole of the most important player they've had in 2 decades. Now, I mean, I know you're bringing Panarin, and by the way, I heard last night on the broadcast, maybe it was the Blues Kraken broadcast, that Seattle offered Panarin 14-5.
What?
14-5 for 3 years.
So he was just dead set on going to LA.
LA, and that's why you get into that bad position. But anyways, LA is in a bit of a mess right now. A terrible start coming out of the break. And you know what? You could say the same thing for the Kraken. I mean, they got absolutely whooped last night by the 31st place St. Louis Blues. And the Preds jumped over the Kings last night. The Sharks lose again in OT. I mean, to your point, like for people that are kicking around, the problem for the Jets is they're not near Nashville. I mean, they're there with Calgary. They went 7-3-3 in a stretch, and they made up 0 points.
Right.
Now, there's 2 sides to it. You got to win, but you also have to have the teams above you lose. There's just so many teams like this. But it doesn't seem, excuse me, it doesn't seem coming out of the Olympic break that many of these teams, particularly in the Pacific Division, are hitting the ground running and are looking to get back into it. So maybe things will get interesting. I mean, I texted you last night. I mean, our biggest worry is having the team be good enough to sort of get back in the mix.
Yeah.
Just good enough to screw up a top 5, top 6 draft pick and end up picking 13th or 14th.
The
and
old
again,
Calgary Flames 101.
Sure. Well, like what happened with Calgary last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they were a huge surprise. They played their asses off every night. They never quit. I mean, they did a lot of good things, I think, for the culture of the team, but they lost by a point or on a tiebreaker or whatever it was. And then you're just like, okay, well, we know we've got a lot of heart, but what's that going to get you? So,
well, I mean, it starts tonight for your Jets, Huss. I mean, that's a huge game. Oilers fans would certainly love to see a Winnipeg Jets victory over the Anaheim Ducks tonight. And you know, Seattle
we're
lost.
Together right now. We're sort of together right now, at least over this next bit, because you guys just played the Ducks. The Jets are getting the Ducks tonight. You guys are in San Jose tomorrow. Hopefully you can soften them up a little bit. Jets get San Jose the next day.
That's a huge game.
And then obviously they come back right now. But I mean, you look at what's happened. Let's just talk about the Sharks for a minute. I mean, they had been in a wild card spot for a good portion of the last month leading into it. They fell off just before the break. They came in losing 4 straight. And again, you go through a week with no points or 1 point, you'll find yourself dropping a few spots. I mean, it's just the nature of the way things are, especially with the 3-point games.
And it's just such a beautiful time of the year too. You know, you're scoreboard watching, you're looking around, you're saying, "Oh, they're good, they lost." You know,
I thought that game for San Jose was a massive one for last night because you're going to have your 4-point games when you're playing the Ducks or Edmonton or the Mammoth. But the one thing, if you are a playoff team, and this is what the Jets did so well last year, part of the reason why they won the President's Trophy, they never lost to the bottom feeders.
Right.
Like they had issues when they were playing the best teams in the league, and that'll happen. But you look at, I mean, their record in the division against the Blackhawks and the Predators and the Blues, it was perfect. And San Jose, and listen, they're obviously still a team that's on the verge of taking that next step and being a playoff team. But I really thought that game last night to come out of the Olympic break, get a win on home ice against a team that's behind you in the standings was crucial. And, a little disappointed. And then at the same time, on the other side of it, I know you guys don't like glossing Calgary or gassing them up, but it's more of the same. Like, are they very good? No. Have they traded a bunch of their players already? Yeah. Are their best players expecting a phone call from Craig Conroy this week? Absolutely. And yet they still go out and play hard. And Calgary gets a couple. So it's I mean, they're going to end up probably in that same no man's land that we've seen in the last little bit. What is interesting just for draft picks, and I know most people listening to this don't really care because they're planning on the playoffs and go forward, but you see the Blues win, Calgary win, Winnipeg win. Like that gap between the bottom 5-6 teams and that next tier, that can shrink pretty quickly. And, there's still so much room for any of those teams to truly be a playoff team because, again, we're talking about 9 or 10 points. But if teams like the Kraken and the Kings can't win, and we'll see what's up with the Utah Grizzlies or Utah Mammoth. I mean, I still think that's a team that when they're on, certainly they're capable of hanging, but they haven't done it before. It's a long season. I mean, maybe some of the slumps that, some teams like the Jets have had earlier on are coming in right now. And how teams react to the Olympics is going to maybe define their seasons. So,
well, it is interesting, Huss, because we were just recently talking about how tight it is in the East. And you're starting to see, okay, I think the West is going to be just as tight here in a couple weeks. I mean, and this is a good point here. Was it Northside Sandwich? And I was talking to Reed about this earlier. The Oilers have been, they've have 60 games played. They've been ahead of everybody pretty much the entire season. The Sharks have 4 games in hand on the Edmonton Oilers. They've only played 56 games. With this condensed season, I think it has brought out that, games played disparity or difference quite a bit and maybe highlighted it because that's huge. I mean, that's a possible 8 points. So even more the reason why it's very important that the Oilers finish off this mini 3-game Western road trip tomorrow, matinee, 2:00. It's very important they finish it off on a strong note. And then our good friends out in Winnipeg continue running the train over the San Jose Sharks after the Oilers leave town. I wanted Yeah, go ahead.
Can I just bring up something, a lock shop futures related topic that I'm interested in, because I'm very biased on this particular team. But I want to point out what Minnesota did last night.
Ooh, yeah.
They go into Colorado. Avalanche, I mean, frankly, reminds me of Canada. I mean, they put up 47 shots. They only get 2. They lose 5-2. And Minnesota now is only 5 points back of the Avs. Now, Dallas is still going to have something to say on this. But, I'm looking at the futures.
Speak to me, Huss.
You look at the Cup winner, and obviously it's Colorado at plus 220. But, I mean, take it from me. You win the President's Trophy, it doesn't just give you a free path to the Stanley Cup final. And that division,
yeah.
It is going to be a really, it's unfair, and it sucks for Minnesota and Dallas to have to play each other in the first round. And that's another conversation as to why they do that, whatever. But those are 3 great teams that I think all on their own, you could make the argument, could absolutely have a long run in the playoffs. There's only going to be one team that comes out. But with what Minnesota has done, the addition of Quinn Hughes, and the likelihood that later on this week that Bill Guerin makes another move. We've heard a lot about maybe another big push in getting Vincent Trocheck. And really, you look at Minnesota, their blue line is elite. I mean, they've got Faber and Hughes back there, and Middleton's a big guy that's tough. Their wingers are good. The one thing that Minnesota doesn't really have is that depth at the center ice position.
Yeah.
I mean, Danil Yurov, the Russian kid, has been really good. He's on an ELC. You got Joel Eriksson-Ek, who's an awesome 200-foot player. If they were to get Vincent Trocheck, who's a guy that can play in the playoffs, great in the faceoff circle. I mean, he ticks off a lot of boxes. If they can do that for a first-round pick and a future and a guy that's not playing on the team, if you're just basically taking a top 6 center and putting him on the Minnesota Wild, to me, the Wild are live in that division. Now, the reason I say this is tough for me to say is that the Minnesota Wild are my most hated team. I mean, they are the Calgary to Edmonton.
Sure.
And it's a kind of a fun rivalry, but they're dirty. I mean, we've had all sorts of incidents between the two teams. So, I'm completely, I don't think I can personally bring myself to make a bet on the Wild. The thought of them winning the Stanley Cup churns my stomach. But if I was a neutral observer without any skin in the game, just looking for a play that I think could have a ton of value compared to what else, the Minnesota Wild right now are 19-1. Colorado is plus 220 for the Cup. You look at the Western Conference, Colorado is plus 120. The Wild are 10-1. I guess my point is, as much as I don't want to give them any credit, I think this team is criminally underrated right now. Now, a big part of the number being what it is because of they're in the Central Division and they got to play Dallas in that first round. But I'll be honest, I don't trust Dallas as much. I think the goaltending. Now, here's the thing. If they trade Wallstedt as part of a package to get something at the deadline, which they may very well do, I think that does, hit them, because their 1-2 is as good as any in the National Hockey. That is, those are riches. But I think the Wild right now, if you're looking at futures, and again, I think it's key to talk about it today, because in a week, put it this way, if we got a ticker notice right now that Vincent Trocheck was going to Minnesota for some futures, they'd be off the board. And I think
yeah, you're right.
Looking at that number coming right down. So
what are you talking, the Central, or are you going Western Conference?
No, I'm talking coming out of the in the playoffs.
So the Western Conference winner. Yeah,
those games are going to be, those series are going to be 7-game wars. At least the Colorado one. If Minnesota plays Colorado, I'll be taking the over 6.5 in the games. I think that is going to be an absolute war. And to be honest, maybe the best thing, bring it back to the Oil, if they can figure it out and get their act together in the Pacific Division and be able to get through Vegas and whoever else makes it, you're going to be playing a team in the third round that has just, whether it's Minnesota or whether it's Colorado, has just come out of arguably a series that is as good or should be on the level of the Cup final, like with where those teams are in the standings.
Well, and that's why, at least in this market, this has been circled as a very important 3-game stretch coming out of this break, because the Oilers want no part of the wild card and the possibility of crossing over into the Central. That is no bueno, because that is murderer's row. I mean, the teams that are in the Central are going to eat each other. And hopefully, should the Oilers stay on the Pacific side of things, there's challenges there, but they're challenge accepted kind of challenges, because the Oilers have been there, done that with the likes of Vegas, in LA. We'll see how that pans out. But, there'll be some new faces in for sure. But the Oilers, that's why tomorrow's game is such a crucial game to finish this off and make this a positive road trip, and not a 3-2 overtime win. Like a 5-2 win in regulation is what the Oilers need. You can't be sharing points at this point of the season, especially with a team like San Jose that has 4 games in hand on you. You need to put the nail in and drive this home. Huss, I was talking to our dear YouTube Trev about this. I mean, Connor Ingram last night, he did exactly what I think for the most part Oilers fans are very much so on the Connor Ingram train. Reed and I looked at this last night on our show, and quality starts, Huss. How much do you look at or follow quality starts? So
not much. Like what's the definition of the quality start?
Because you know what, I had to go back to read this morning and just say, okay, can we go over this again? So it starts with a save percentage that is higher than the average save percentage of the year. So the NHL save percentage. So quality starts for Connor Ingram. He has started 13 games this year. Of those 13 games, 9 of them, Huss, have been deemed as quality starts, where his save percentage that game is higher than the NHL average, which usually, not always, but it's a good indicator of, it's a strong indicator of really good goaltending. Okay? His quality start percentage right now is 69.2%. Okay? That is very good. If you want to look at your guy, Connor Hellebuck, the highest save quality start percentage of his career, Huss, was last year, where he had, of 63 games started, 45 of those were deemed quality starts. That is 72.6%. So we went and we looked throughout the league. We looked at the top goaltenders in the league. Okay? And Connor Ingram is at or above most of them. So this needs to be Edmonton's number one goaltender, right? I mean, is and Reed said to me today, I don't know if he's pulling my leg, but he said, watch them go with Jari tomorrow. And I think that would be absolutely absurd. But what are your thoughts here, Huss? Do you think the Oilers have found their number one, even though contract numbers may not suggest that it's Connor Ingram?
None of that matters. Like, with this team, it's whoever's playing. And
I hope so.
I guess if he played really well, he plays really well last night. You've got a day off. Give him another start. I think that would make a lot of sense. I mean, they're just looking for a guy to get on and give you 3 or 4 of those in a row.
Yes.
And obviously, Jari hasn't done that so far. I mean, and I guess Pickard's still in the mix, right? Is he in the minors, or are they carrying 3 goalies right now?
No, he's down in Bakersfield.
Okay. So he can be around, but I mean, I guess he's obviously kind of a clear 3.
Yeah.
They just need guys to make saves. And listen, when the Oilers have those bad games, I mean, this is the brilliance of Hellebuck, over the years. Not as much this year, but every team is going to have off nights. Every team's going to make mistakes. How much of an eraser can you be? And the Oiler goalies, historically, or the last number of years, just haven't been able to cover up enough. If you get into a position where he is, making the saves that he should make, because, I mean, this team is good enough to use that quality start. Like, I mean, if he is just playing at an above average level, that team's going to score enough goals that you should win most nights. And I do think that Knobloch would be well intentioned to try to get one of his guys feeling like a number one and moving forward.
Yes.
Now listen, for Jari, if Jari ends up being the backup for the next little while and getting one of every 4 or 5 starts and has to sit there and, realize that every time he goes in, it's a huge opportunity to kind of barge back into it and get motivated that way. Who cares?
Right.
I mean, it is all about the present right now for Edmonton. It's about these next 20-odd games, and then is it about the playoffs? Contracts don't matter. I mean, there's no one, there's no Hellebuck. There's no guy they gave a 7-year deal to that is the franchise that they know at some point he'll go as far as that guy's going to carry you. None of those guys are that. So guess what? If Connor Ingram, did you guys get him off waivers? Is he a waiver pickup?
I'm pretty sure he was, if I'm not mistaken.
He was, early on in the year, because Utah had all those guys.
It might turn out to be the best story in the NHL this year. If 100%. Connor Ingram can continue doing what he's doing, and just this quality start that I was referring to earlier, just to give you an idea, Tristan Jarry has started 11 games. 3 of them have been deemed as quality starts. That's a 27.3%. This, to most people, is a moot point. This isn't a discussion. So,
yeah,
if I just hope the Oilers can wrap their heads around it, because they've been doing some things that have been questionable here as of late. I will give back to Knobloch. I'll give him credit again. That's 2 games in a row that, and I mean, okay, last night was a different game. They were feeling it. Pucks were going in the net, but they were rolling lines. This is 2 games in a row that they have rolled through their 4 lines, and 11.
They had to. They had 11 skaters.
Well, that's true. Okay, but they were doing that even before. Janmark only played 5 minutes, but the 4th line, they were noticeable last night. The 3rd line, very noticeable. Over the last 2 games, 11 different Oilers players have scored goals. Each of the 4 forward lines has contributed at least a goal. I mean, that is music to Oilers fans' ears. That is something that they've been looking for a long time. And back to Connor Ingram. The Oilers went up because it was 2-1, and then the Oilers got 2 quick ones kind of back-to-back in the second period to put them up 4-1. Right after that, it was a grade A scoring opportunity for the Kings, and Connor Ingram shut the door. Okay, Oilers fans probably winced at that opportunity, because under normal circumstances or poor goaltending circumstances, that's in the net. And then it's you've given them a little bit of an opening, and who knows what's going to happen. That was a brilliant game by Connor Ingram last night. I don't see how this team moves forward without making him the number 1 goaltender. And I mean, Huss, out of 8 games, 6 of them are Ingram's. Don't mince it. Just dedicate and give this guy the net. Make it clear that he's the number 1. And in Ingram we trust, I suppose. This is the 9th career 100-point season for McDavid. That's 3rd all time behind Gretzky, who had 15. Lemieux had 10. McDavid's at 9. Huss, Reed and I looked at this, but this is actually a record, because there's a lot of untouchable records, or, who knows, records that Gretzky has set that can Connor actually get there. This one here, I mean, if there was a line on will Connor break the consecutive or the 100-point season benchmark of 15, I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, he's 29 years old. I could see Connor McDavid easily doing this for another 6 or 7 years, which would put him over 15. Is this something you think is attainable for Mr. McDavid?
Man, everything's attainable for McDavid. I mean, he's 101. And I mean, I guess the big question is, I mean, what makes him on another level than everybody else for the most part? Very few even in the conversation is his speed. And, you know, does he have the wheels at 35, 36 that he does right now? But with his vision, I wouldn't bet against it. I mean, on a more recent note, I would be interesting. And I mean, over the Olympic break and just before we got back to business, we went back through all those futures. Like, I hope people jumped on that plus 125 for him to win the Art Ross. Like, you know what? McKinnon had 2 last night. He had 2 last night. But the fact that we were getting plus money on Connor McDavid with a lead, to me, was a little crazy, to be honest with you. I mean, that was like, I'm not sure that he wouldn't have been even money at the start of the year. Like, it's a better number now with a lead at this point than we had it before. So I'm not sure. Do you still have numbers up for that at PA?
No, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the awards, they sort of take off. They had them up during the break. I mean, you could maybe see if you can get a number on that, because again, it was plus 125 on the break. I think Kucherov, McKinnon was like plus 140 or something like that, and Kucherov was like plus 165 or plus 170. And I think the other part that is important, I mean, I don't think they're going to be sitting McDavid or anything like that. It's not like they're in such a comfortable position that they'll be able to lay it off. I mean, he's going to need to carry this team in there. So
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, those are the 2 ones that I jumped on: the McDavid, Art Ross, and we talked about John Cooper to win Coach of the Year. And now we just get back to the games. And it's sort of funny, you know, looking at the slate tonight. You know, what we had 12 last night in the league. This would be, Remus was saying yesterday, he goes, it would be so NHL. We go 8 games, 12 games, and then have 0 on Friday night. Well, we don't have 0. We've got 4. But 4 pretty big games, to be honest, with some big teams that are very much in playoff races. Some might say that's not the case with the Jets and the Ducks. Interesting, the Jets plus 109 tonight.
Can I tell you something, Huss? I got a strong feeling for your Jets tonight. I am hot and bothered for the Winnipeg Jets going into Anaheim. I think with better goaltending, the Oilers could have, should have, say whatever you want, but they allowed 6 goals. Tristan Jarry looked like not good. Very poor, actually. I think with proper goaltending, the Winnipeg Jets, who are playing good hockey, inspired hockey, purposeful hockey, can go into Anaheim and get that. And at PA, they're plus 111. So, I mean, we wouldn't need much more to offer or to add to that. What do you, I know, I just have to hear it out of your mouth. But, I mean, Buffalo, who you're very high on, are going into a Florida team that, against all odds or against all thoughts, looked pretty damn good last night.
They did. You know, we'll see whether they can do that on back-to-back nights.
Is this a stay-away game, or is this a dive all-in on Buffalo game? Because they're 106.
I think I sort of have to put my money where my mouth is. I said I was going to be fading Florida down the stretch. Now, listen, that'll change if they rattle off 4 or 5 wins right out of here. Because I do think that if they're not making the playoffs, they would love to be in that bottom 10 and not have to give up their first-round pick. I think that's something we have to kind of keep in the back of our heads right now. And listen, they went out. There was all the pomp and circumstance of that game. Congratulations on the gold medals, Austin, Matthew, all that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the Leafs right now are a bit of a disaster. Did you see that play where Morgan Riley fell and then took out the other defenseman? The funniest thing is that goal was actually overturned on an offside challenge. But guess what? The offside challenge doesn't take that play off the internet.
No.
And everyone that is a Leaf hater was having some fun with that. But I do like Buffalo here. It's a very close line. What did you say? Minus 104?
Buffalo's plus 106, Huss.
Plus 106. Oh, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I think I might like 3 dogs.
Okay.
Jets, Buffalo, and the Wild.
Yeah.
I'm
Why
not
are the
scared at
Wild
all.
dogs like?
Because they played Colorado last night. You're always seeing
And
that
they
factor
beat
in.
them up and down the ice in Colorado last night.
Yep. And
Us, we're doing this.
Played last night. Well, Wallstedt's going to be playing tonight. That's the one thing. They don't have this massive drop-off when they go to their backup goalie.
No.
And what's interesting, I think they want to get this win because have you heard this schedule for Quinn Hughes?
No, go ahead.
So Quinn Hughes is playing this game against Utah. Then he is flying to New York. Or I guess they go back after the game. He's flying to New York on Saturday to do Saturday Night Live. Then he's going back for a game on Sunday. Then he's flying back to New York on Monday to do the Tonight Show.
Oh, jeez.
And then back to his team for Tuesday. So Quinn Hughes has a very, very busy schedule. And it is kind of funny that Bill Guerin, and I think probably it's part of him being the GM of Team USA, has his own player going through that right now. But again, they're very, very comfortable. They know where they're at. They know what they're going to be doing. But I just think, and we've talked a little bit about, these other teams in the West that are in the wild cards and in that break. I mean, Utah is certainly one of those teams. So,
hey,
maybe even a round robin tonight of these games. 3 2-gamers.
Ooh.
And then a 3-gamer. You know how you can play those. But
Reed's been doing that a lot, where he has 4 outcomes and they each play with and against each other. I mean, so if 3 of the 4 outcomes hit, you can still be positive money.
Exactly. And this would be, with at plus money.
I got the number. I took the I took charge, Huss, and I just said hell with it. I'm going to send this into the good friends over at Play Alberta. It's not live yet. I just asked them what the number would be.
Yeah.
Okay, Jets, Sabres, Wild, money line. Any guesses?
Is this after the boost?
This is boosted, baby.
820.
Whoa, that's good job. 875.
875.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
So
that's very nice.
Now, do we give the people an option here, Huss? So, sorry, forgive me. I've never played the options, but what do you call that? What's the technical name for that?
Well, I think on some sites you call it like a round robin, where basically you're betting. I mean, you could do it by itself, just like instead of putting
a system bet. That's what.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. So say we're going to put $10 on Jets Wild parlay, $10 on Buffalo Winnipeg parlay, $10 on Buffalo Minnesota parlay, and then $10 on all 3 teams together. So it ends up being a $40 bet, but you're basically close to even if 2 of them come in. And if all 3 of them come in, you're winning 4 different bets, as opposed to just going with 4. I mean, sometimes people will just play the games individually. That's what I often do. If I really like 3 games, I'll play the 3 games, and then I'll put a smaller unit size on the 3 of them together if you hit them all.
So,
but I do like these games, and I'm kind of don't have a lot to say about this Vegas-Washington game. Just knowing that Vegas is getting all their guys back. Washington's a really desperate team right now, but I think these other 3 will be good. And as I say, I mean, I could see people maybe being a little hesitant on the Buffalo just because of Florida and listen, they've got this pedigree, their backs against the wall. I mean, I guess I'm sort of here for that. But if you take Buffalo off, you're still looking at plus 350 or something like that on Minnesota Winnipeg, just the 2-gamer.
Why don't we do this then? this will be a lock shop first. And a reminder that Lock Shop and all of Edmonton Sports Talk is brought to you by Play Alberta. Why don't I put in 2 plays where you can either go big game hunting and just take all 3 on the money line.
Yep.
And then I'll do an all 3 on a system play where the total winnings might be less, but you can have some chances. I'll see if they're open to doing that. And if they are, I'll get it up.
I'm not sure how they'd be able to throw that.
Yeah, I don't know if they can or if you have to manually do it yourself.
But again, like lock shoppers, if you want to get a little piece of them, the guys are getting a nice boost. You can jump on that. And then, maybe you take what you were going to bet and you put it in half and you do it half on your favorite game or half on the 2-gamer for later on. But I will be in on Buffalo, Minnesota, and Winnipeg tonight, and plus 875 sounds pretty darn good.
I'm all over it. Huss, we're running out of time here. Thanks again. Hey, thanks for this week. It's been fun, fantastic. I always love working with you while the guys are off, sunning themselves in Mexico.
Yes.
You and I are here crunching up system plays. I love it. I wouldn't rather be anywhere else. But we are together still on Monday, so that'll be our
big Monday weekend. We'll go over the golf results on the weekend and how things are doing. By the way, just as I'm out,
yes,
like this is one of these tournaments with like the big fields. How about this? Canadian AJ Ewert shoots a 7 under 64 today.
Wow.
He's third. 3 shots back of Austin Smotherman, who's just started his round, and 1 back of Nico Echeverria. And there's another Canadian. Mac Hughes was big today, as was Ben Silverman. And he's got the longest name, although from what I'm seeing, he may have had a tough run today.
How's the Hogard brothers doing?
The Højgaard brothers are, Nikolai is at 2 over. He's just started his round, though. It looks like the cut is going to be even. And Rasmus is 1 under.
Okay.
So he'll be there for the weekend. Tied for 45. They'll have to get going on the weekend. So, yeah, we like both of those guys. We want to get them going. So it'll be a cut sweat for Nikolai this afternoon. But anyways, there's a few of the Canadians that we don't see often out there. Oh, yeah. Sudarshan Yelamaraju. And my buddy Andrew, who's a PGA of Canada guy, was telling me about this dude. And, he was really good in and around Ontario and decided to go in some tournaments. And now he's, he ended up, I think, qualifying through Corn Ferry. And there he is. Tied for 28th right now, just getting out on the course. So could be a big weekend for some Canadians that we aren't usually talking about. And needed that. Brooks Koepka. Brooks 5 under today.
Hey.
He was 3 over after the first round. So those Brooks top 10s are live right now, as well as Brooks with the Højgaard boys. So
let's go Højgaards.
We'll get to that. Matty Dunstone plus 205 to win the Brier. I got a feeling this is going to be his time. That's a lot to ask of the Jacobs rink after just playing in the Olympics. But Brier gets going tonight. And WWE Elimination Chamber as well.
Penner's Pancakes in the chat says, Huss, before you go, who wins the Elimination Chamber tomorrow?
Jeez, that is a tough one. I would say, it's hard for me to go against Cody Rhodes, and that's why he is the favorite. But I kind of feel like they might like something a little different. We know that. So this guy's going to probably be going up against Drew McIntyre. Randy Orton at 2-1. LA Knight's really popular too, though. And I could go for either Orton or Knight, but if I'm going to have a pick, Orton is pretty much a legend. We'll go Randy Orton in that one. And the women's, I'm going to go with Tiffany Stratton. I think she was even money yesterday. It's now minus 110.
Well, you heard it there first.
Rodriguez, don't think it'll be Alexa Raska. So yeah, let's go with those.
Well, and Penner's Pancakes agrees with you. He has said that they have to switch it up from Rhodes. So Orton is your pick. Huss, thank you for joining us as always. Have a great show. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend of betting, Huss. Let's go get them. This play is going to go up.
Tonight. Yeah, I like this one tonight. Let's finish off strong heading into the weekend. Get us a little beer money.
Plus 875. Right, Mini, Jets, Sabres. Huss, take care. Have a great show. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Lock Shop presented by Play Alberta. Don't go anywhere, though. We've got the Oil Stream coming up next, hosted by the one and only Reed Wilkins. You want to get the reaction from last night's game. That's going to head right into a Friday edition of EST Afternoons with Matthew Wannick and Zachary Kubish. And then from 3 to 6, I'm back here, right here. Reed Wilkins there. The Reed Wilkins Show from 3 to 6 right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you for watching The Lock Shop. Don't go anywhere.